Welcome to Our Communiversity Today, a community affairs program from West Virginia University Institute of Technology in Beckley, hosted by Dr. T. Ramon Stuart, president of West Virginia University Institute of Technology, working to make a difference in Southern West Virginia. Guest opinions expressed on this program may not represent the opinions of West Virginia University Institute of Technology or Southern Communications. And now with today's program, here's Dr. Stewart.
Welcome to Our Communiversity Today. I'm Dr. Ramon Stuart, president of WVU Tech here in Beckley, and I'm thankful that you chose to be with us as we explore Our Communiversity. As always, communiversity is a simple term that means that the community is the university and the university is the community. And together we look for new and innovative ways to not only improve our daily lives, but ultimately improve the lives of all the Southern West Virginians. And today in studio, we have with us a special guest. And the guest is an entrepreneur, a visionary, an individual that is not like us. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. But a person that has seen opportunity here in Southern West Virginia, and with his family, he's worked to bring forward new initiatives. And we're going to talk about some of those things. And that individual is none other than Mr. Noah Kapp, owner of Compliance here in Beckley, West Virginia, and several other small things with his lovely wife, Tiffany. And so as we talk to Noah today, we're going to look to ask and answer two questions, as we do all the time on Our Communiversity Today. And that's simply, why not us and why not now? So right after this break, we'll be back with more Our Communiversity Today on News Talk WWNR.
Need a change and ready to transfer? WVU Tech offers the best return on your college investment in West Virginia, and we make it easy to apply and transfer your existing credits. We've got top-ranked, affordable engineering programs, 4-year degrees in science, business, and nursing, plus financial aid and student support services. WVU Tech could be just the place for you. Find out more information at wvutech.edu/admissions today.
Enjoy the boys this summer at Go-Mart Park in Charleston. The Charleston Dirty Birds have different events each night at the ballpark. $2 Tuesdays are always a fan favorite. Also enjoy Dollar Beer Night, Wolf in the Park, Freebie Fridays, Family and College Night, and many others. Get individual tickets or buy them by the dozen and get ready for the game at CharlestonDirtyBirdsBaseball.com. Enjoy baseball all summer long with the Charleston Dirty Birds.
Find out more about how you can be a part of the communiversity. Visit WWNRradio.com. Now back to the program.
Welcome back to Our Communiversity Today. Again, we're visiting with Noah Kapp, a local entrepreneur with several businesses here in Southern West Virginia. And we're going to talk about his vision for the future here in Southern West Virginia and beyond. But as I said in the intro, Noah, you're not like us. Oftentimes I talk to people and, I ask where they from and everything. And they tell me, well, I'm from this county. Like I always say the free state of McDowell County. And in West Virginia, we don't even say the city we were from, because I was born in the booming metropolis of Welch at Welch Emergency Hospital. We say Raleigh County or Mingo County or Mercer or Wyoming County. But you're not like us. Where are you from, Noah?
I am originally from the D.C. area. Northern Virginia, about 25 minutes outside of the city. But I have been for, all the West Virginians here. I've lived here longer than I've lived anywhere else. So I'm happy to be ingratiated by this community.
Excellent. So you grew up 25 minutes north of D.C. or so, and obviously there's a lot more going on in that area, both today and in past, than you find here in Southern West Virginia. Tell me about your upbringing in that area.
Yeah, so I grew up in Northern Virginia. It was a very suburban, middle class upbringing. Went to Potomac Falls High School, played a little high school basketball, made my way to WVU, And from WU, I tried to find a path for myself, and started off biology. Most of my college was biology major, and then I met my lovely wife and decided to change my major about 5 different times until she kicked me out of college and said, "You got to get out of here." And she found some degree that somehow worked all my minors together into a bachelor's degree.
No, I got to tell you, man, I knew that I liked you, but now I know I love you. When I went to college as a biology major, and I went to the #1 party school in the nation, and many of you all know what that was, and everything like that. That same place you went, and I tell you, my fraternity brothers and I, we had a thing that we did everything in our power to make sure we upheld that distinction of the #1 party school in the nation. And so we would start parties at 11:06, and they would end at 12 the next day. And I'm not talking about 12 a.m. So what happens is, as a biology major, the best sleep I got my freshman year of college was actually in my biology lectures. And so I had to change my major too. And I went from a biology major to an engineer, even though I never heard the word engineering until I was a sophomore in college. So I understand, but now, before, like I said, I liked you. Now I love you. But that preparation of biology helped you get to the degree and the minors and everything like that. And, coming into WVU, I found that quite a few people from the DMV area, as we like to call it, DC, Maryland, and Virginia area, are attracted to WVU. What is that attraction?
I think it was, well, first of all, when I applied for WU, I think I had a 3.4 high school GPA. And out of all the schools I applied for, they were the one who sent me a letter saying, "Man, that is an amazing GPA. We would love to have you." And I was like, well, I would love to be had. I had a few other friends that were going there. So, we went up. We had a great time in Morgantown. Still miss Morgantown. It's my alma mater. I did end up having to go back, though, and get my MBA, and then I got another master's in marketing through Liberty University. Did those online so that I actually had a piece of paper that I could put on a resume.
Yeah, and it's funny, and I told you my story, my journey through biology and everything. And one of the big things I learned later in life from one of my fraternity brothers, it's not how you start the game, it's how you finish it. And I love that you went back and got your executive MBA, also went and got more education in marketing at Liberty University. So these are great things, and they help prepare you for moments such as this. But you're here in West Virginia. You talked about meeting your lovely wife in college, and I would assume that you being from Northern Virginia, your first thought was to flee these Appalachian mountains. What kept you here?
Well, my wife is a very pretty woman, and she is hard-headed, so that played a very big part in it. But I'll admit, when I first got here, it was a little bit of culture shock, even after being up in the northern part of the state at West Virginia University. But then the more I was here, I really fell in love with small town life. Not even that we're the smallest town around, but to be able to get something done and something accomplished in a community like ours. I mean, if I wanted to, I guarantee it could be a couple phone calls, you're talking to the governor. A phone call or two, you're talking to the president of West Virginia Tech. It's just amazing how when the people in this community who want to come together can. And I think that's what I'm most appreciative for. I go back home. All my buddies who went to WU, they ended back up in Northern Virginia working for government contractors. And for me, they're like, you're in cold country, and I'm like, you guys don't know how nice it is. Like, you guys don't have these connections, these relationships, these bonds between families, friends, everything else. So it's definitely been a very nice thing that I've fallen in love with.
Yeah, those connections I think are big, and with Our Communiversity Today, our goal is connecting people so that we can figure out why not us and why not now. And so that connectivity is so big, and it's so important, because what it does is it allows you to reach out and touch, as you mentioned, whether it's the governor, whether it's the United States senators that represent us, or little old me. We can pick up the phone and somebody else will be on the other end. How does that really make you feel?
I love it. I just feel like there's people that want to help too. That's the nice thing is people want to be involved with something. Everybody's talked about it. They want something better for the community. I mean, this is home. They love their mountain state. I've come to love the mountain state. And, our thing is we are very, very isolated here, which has played throughout Appalachia's history a role in, being more rural communities as opposed to more urban. But, I just see a ton of opportunity for this area.
Yeah, and I think it's neat having the perspective of Northern Virginia. It's crazy. I've traveled around the nation and the world, and I oftentimes, have to remind people the only way you can get to 50 states is if you realize that West Virginia is not Virginia, okay? But, some people will get that on their way home. But what happens is, as we go through and we look, and what you saw in Northern Virginia, you see the growth and the development, federal government's there, many offshoots. You talked about some of your, friends from home going with private contractors and stuff. Some of those things have given you the opportunity to build a dream and everything. And how do you, here in Southern West Virginia, where unfortunately, as West Virginia's economist, Dr. John Deskins, mentioned, sometimes we have this NIMBY challenge that he names not in my backyard. How do you cope with that kind of mentality that sometimes is presented here in Southern West Virginia?
Yeah, honestly, I wasn't aware of it. I felt like, once I got here, I since I've moved here, I've had questions about like, why are we losing our population? Why is it in decline? And I think a lot of it is, I don't want to speak for the culture or anything, but we need people who are ready to make some change, and it's only going to improve this area. Any opportunities we can bring here, I think should be welcomed. But I have seen that from a business aspect, from just friends talking to me about them developing trails and stuff. I think it's like behind the Woodcrest area, and that used to be hunting grounds for them. So they're like, they're bringing these trails, but this used to be hunting grounds, so not in my backyard. Like I don't want you taking over this and taking this away from me. Which I think you can retain your culture while at the same time still improving, still developing, still having an economic impact on this area.
Yeah, I think it's so important. I was in a training one time when I was down in Georgia, and there was a consultant there, and I was talking about strategic planning. And strategic planning, everybody had a plan when they stepped in the ring to beat Mike Tyson until he punched him in the face. But one of the things that the gentleman talked about that was so profound is culture eats strategy for breakfast. And I think that's so important because culturally, sometimes some of the most strategic minds here in Southern West Virginia or throughout this state can be played, or the strategy can be played with the culture that, again, suggests not in my backyard. And so what we're going to do, Noah, real quick, is we're going to take a short break. Again, in studio with us, Noah Kapp, a local entrepreneur from here in Southern West Virginia. And I ask our listeners to stay tuned to News Talk WWNR for more Our Communiversity Today.
WVU Tech's Regents Bachelor of Arts degree is crafted for adult learners like you. Flexible, affordable, and tailored to your goals. You can even earn credit for work and life experience, giving you a jump on completing your degree. Whether you're finishing a degree you've started or shifting to a new career, WVU Tech provides the resources and support you need to make it a reality. Take the next step at wvutech.edu/admissions today.
With more Communiversity Today, here's Dr. Stuart.
Welcome back to Our Communiversity Today. Again, we're visiting with Noah Kapp, an entrepreneur here in Southern West Virginia. And, I told you all at the onset, Noah's not like us. And I think it's always interesting when you see an individual that is from somewhere else, especially a place that some of us in West Virginia see as progressive or booming, like Northern Virginia. We see them come here. Again, he told you he had a great excuse to come here and met the love of his life at West Virginia University. And her being a native of Southern West Virginia, she told him the best place to be was here in Raleigh County. But, Noah, being here, young, successful entrepreneur, family man, obviously the things you've seen in Northern Virginia, the things you've seen in Morgantown, which in many ways our state has this kind of dichotomous relationship, almost us versus them, a north versus south, or east versus south. You've seen some things, and with outside eyes, tell me what you've seen.
The biggest thing I've seen is you're talking about north versus south. Morgantown's opening itself up to development. Like they're encouraging businesses to come there. Every time I go up to Morgantown, it's something new is going in. I don't recognize it half the time. Even people a few years younger than me that are just got out of there, they still go up for football games. They're like, I can't believe what went in here. Where we're kind of looking at, we get a few chain restaurants every now and then. For the most part, it's not as welcoming to business as it should be. We have a lot of people who are trying to do their best for this area. And I'll tell you, one of the things we go to like a lot of meet the candidates for like the governor's race. We've been at fundraisers for local politicians, state politicians, federal politicians. And one of the things that they always bring up is tourism. And, it seems like it's the same platitude every single time about we have a beautiful state, we have water, we have, all these other amenities. But there's never a concrete idea for like, how do we take advantage of it? How do we get people here who want to vacation here? I've told Tiffany, I've told plenty of other people, I've never, while we do have hiking trails and rafting, and obviously that is a big tourist attraction, I and most of the people I know aren't planning vacations around that.
Yeah. And I think it's big because as we look at the economic impact of the state, you cannot underscore or dismiss the role that tourism has played in Southern West Virginia with the new River Gorge and the different amenities that we have here. But the question becomes, is that enough? To your point, when you think about planning vacations and everything, with the 63rd National Park, we do see license plates from around the world, or the nation, I guess it would be, that would come here. But when they're here, is it enough? And so what are your thoughts on that?
So what I like to look at is Sevierville, Tennessee. Sevierville, once they got designated with a national park, then what they ended up doing was they ended up having a sports complex go in there. And between the national park and the tourism from the sports complex, that area just started to blow up. Just industry moved in. You saw restaurants, businesses, construction companies relocating there just to service the needs of this influx of people. And another interesting thing that you see is if you look at areas that do have like these sports complexes or big national parks, you see a lot of them come from like farm communities that are in a decline of population. And then once those start in, you start seeing an incline in population. The population starts increasing, and it's able to serve those businesses that come in. And you have an influx and a cycling through of people who are coming through to actually, go and patronize the businesses, patronize the different industries in the area. And I think that's something that I would really like to see come to this area.
So I think this is neat. You just coupled outdoor recreation, the New River Gorge National Park, 63rd National Park. You've coupled outdoor recreation with actual a sports complex, which would be associated with indoor recreation. So tell me more about that.
Yeah, so this is something that's been a passion project of mine for a while. I got into it with Scott Wilkes and Doug Legursky, and now we have city, county, state officials who have also been, working with us on this, and it's something that we're very excited about. We've been having talks about it for the past 4 months. But, the genesis of this whole project was Scott and I, we have daughters that play travel volleyball. We have been going around to these different sports complexes and just seeing these influx. Some of these tournaments would have 200 teams there. You have vendors outside of there. And then in between either matches or when matches are over in the evening, what you see is a lot of people going out and treating it like a vacation. I know when we went, a bunch of the parents ended up going like hiking in Gatlinburg or going to some of the other, fun things like a Dave and Buster's type of place. I know that there was a mountain coaster, and we are getting one of those here shortly, that a bunch of them went to. So they're going out, they're doing stuff, they are treating it like a vacation, and they're taking advantage of all the other amenities that come along with this. So once Scott's been my driver on this. He comes from a football background. He was a strength coach for Marshall University and Louisville University, and he's everything you would think a strength coach should be. So when he said, "Man, we need to start looking into this," we started going around to each facility we would visit and be like, "How did this happen? Kind of what was the impetus for this thing?" And we started to learn more. Then we started looking into financing options. Then we started, drawing in local members of the community to kind of get their input. And, what I loved about it was I expected to get shut down right away when we started, making these phone calls. And instead it was like, no, let's push forward on this. This is something we need. I know it's something that's been in the works before and, has had its progressions and it fell through. But I think right now, when you look at it from a financial standpoint and an opportunity standpoint, we really have a great opportunity, especially we're a hub here. We've got 3 different interstates that flow in here. We're starting to get, we've got plenty of hotels and stuff. Obviously, you're going to need more with a facility like this. But a lot of these teams, they'll even fly in. You'll have like Under Armour sponsored teams, Nike sponsored teams, Reebok sponsored teams, and they will fly them in. And so you're going to see an influx at the airports. It's just going to affect all around business, which I think would be a major windfall for this area.
Yeah, this is exciting. When you talk about windfall, one of the big things I'm very big on is, and Dr. John Deskins actually did this upon my arrival. We did an economic impact study, even at WVU Tech, and we do a $35 million annual average economic impact on this area, employ 285 people, average salary of $57,500. So you can see that impact. But something like what you're talking about, it has the opportunity to be impactful at $35 million and beyond. Is that correct?
Yes. So if you look at these other facilities, obviously I'm going to take one of the bigger ones here, which is it's Lake Point Sports Complex in Cartersville, Georgia. And Georgia Tech University actually did a study on them. Obviously, they've expanded beyond what you're seeing at like Rocky Top in Gatlinburg and some of the other ones where they have aquatics facilities and everything else. But their economic impact is almost $250 million for that area. And that started off on a farm in the middle of nowhere in Georgia. Some of the other ones like Rocky Top, that's about $50 million economic impact. So this could be, it definitely has potential to benefit and help to grow this area and keep people here. That's one thing we want. We want people to go to West Virginia Tech and say, hey, you know what? I want to keep my skills here. There's stuff for my kids to do here. It's a great place for me to start a family. We don't want to see people continue to leave this area. We want to see this area continue to flourish and grow. And I think this is, in my opinion, as I've looked for my 20 years here, what would be a major impact for this community that would actually work to start tourism, start people cycling through. I would say this is probably the number one idea to do that.
Yeah, man. I Noah, you have me excited here and listening to this opportunity, seeing your, enthusiasm and everything like that. And I just got to ask you real quick, is it too late? You've talked about all of these other places Is it too late for this to come to Southern West Virginia?
So we are working on a feasibility study, but I do not think this is too late. I think this is probably the perfect time to get it done. Obviously, it's been talked about in Greenbrier County, Summers County, Mercer County. Not the extent of like the indoor facility, but they've looked at something like that. And I really think with our population and what we have here, we are at the perfect point to do this. The closest one to us is the bridge up in Bridgeport, so you're looking at 2 hours away, so nothing too close. We have 3 interstates, like I said, that flow into this area. And to get to any other sports complexes like this, it's about a 2-hour drive any direction. So we really have the opportunity to have a competitive nature to this, to where people will come here. If you look at the bridge up in Bridgeport, that area started a sports facility much like the one that we're trying to do, and they only have a population of 9,000 people. So with the population we have here, we should easily be able to get this done.
Man, I love it. It doesn't sound like it's too late. It sounds like you're answering a question: why not us, and why not now? And ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate Noah Kapp in studio with us today. We're going to take a short break, but I do ask that you stick with News Talk WWNR as we close this edition of Our Communiversity Today.
Enjoy the boys this summer at Go Mart Park in Charleston. The Charleston Dirty Birds have different events each night at the ballpark. $2 Tuesdays are always a fan favorite. Also enjoy Dollar Beer Night, Wolf in the Park, Freebie Fridays, Family and College Night, and many others. Get individual tickets or buy them by the dozen and get ready for the game at CharlestonDirtyBirdsBaseball.com. Enjoy baseball all summer long with the Charleston Dirty Birds.
Need a change and ready to transfer? WVU Tech offers the best return on your college investment in West Virginia, and we make it easy to apply and transfer your existing credits. We've got top-ranked, affordable engineering programs, 4-year degrees in science, business, and nursing, plus financial aid and student support services. WVU Tech could be just the place for you. Find out more information at wvutech.edu/admissions today.
From a $2 sausage McMuffin to small fries or even a mini McFlurry, McDonald's new under $3 McValue menu has over 15 ways to save all day. Any size frozen Coke for $2, any size iced coffee for $2. McD's comes through at participating McDonald's for a limited time.
Welcome back to Our Communiversity Today. Again, I want to thank our guest in studio, Noah Kapp, for sharing not only his time and his talent, but also illustrating why he is a true treasure here to Southern West Virginia. Again, as a native of Northern Virginia, he has a perspective that is different than some of ours. But the thing that makes us better as West Virginians, better as people, is the fact that we can embrace those differences and find the commonalities that allows us to move forward both individually and collectively. And today we heard the vision. We saw the opportunities that are here in Southern West Virginia. As you think about having the nation's 63rd national park, you think about the overall economic impact and growth that it has brought to Southern West Virginia. But now the opportunity to potentially couple that with an indoor sports complex gives us more chance to provide cutting edge entertainment, both indoors and outdoors, for not only our young people, but also our seasoned saints. And so I thank you so much for hearing about the vision of Noah Kapp. And I thank you so much for tuning in to Our Communiversity Today. And I ask you to visit wwnrradio.com for additional information about Noah and his vision, and also for more information and how you can help build Our Communiversity Today for a brighter Southern West Virginia tomorrow.
You've been listening to Our Communiversity Today, a production of West Virginia University Institute of Technology and Communiversity partner, Southern Communications in Beckley. This program and contact information is available on our website and our mobile app at wwnrradio.com. Join us next week for Our Communiversity Today.